In the heart of Portland, Oregon, nestled on the quiet corner of Maple Street, stood a small indie bookstore. This wasn't just any shop. It was Harper's sanctuary, a haven built from the spines of countless stories, the scent of old paper, and the hushed whispers of poetry. For Harper, life was a carefully curated collection of first editions and well-loved paperbacks. She found her comfort within the pages, believing the greatest adventures were bound in ink and thread. She never imagined her own story was about to begin, not with the turn of a page, but with the jingle of the bell above her door on a grey, rainy afternoon. And then she walked in. Her name was Riley. Dressed in a worn leather jacket, with a professional camera slung casually over her shoulder, she brought the world with her. But it was her smile that truly stopped time, a smile so bright it made Harper completely forget the words she'd been reading just moments before. Riley was a travel photographer, a nomad by trade, only in town for a brief assignment. She said she was drawn in by the promise of good coffee, a claim she made every single day she returned. But as she sat at the small table by the window, Harper knew, and Riley knew, it was about more than just the coffee. Their conversations started small. Recommendations for books, discussions about classic authors. But soon they blossomed. Riley would talk about the vibrant colors of a market in Marrakesh, the stark, beautiful emptiness of the Icelandic highlands. She described the world through her lens, and Harper, who had only traveled through literature, listened, completely captivated. In return, Harper shared her own world, the intricate plots of mystery novels, the profound beauty of a single line of poetry, the quiet joy of connecting a reader with their perfect book. With each conversation, Harper found herself laughing more freely. Her smile becoming a natural fixture, her ears constantly listening for the familiar chime of the front door. One evening, as the rain painted shimmering streaks on the shop window, Riley broke their usual routine. "Hey," she said, her voice soft but sure. "The rain's letting up a bit. Want to go for a walk?" Harper, who usually preferred the cozy indoors, found herself agreeing without a second thought. They wandered through the glistening streets of Portland, the city lights reflecting in the puddles at their feet. Under the dim glow of the street lamps, they moved beyond books and photographs. Sharing pieces of themselves' dreams they held close, past heartaches they'd carried, and the quiet hopes they had for the future. Harper hadn't felt this vibrant, this completely and utterly alive in years. It was a feeling as exhilarating as it was terrifying, because with every shared secret and every lingering glance, a heavy truth loomed in the background. Riley's time in Portland was finite. She had a flight to catch, a new assignment waiting, a life that was constantly in motion. 2 weeks, that's all they had. The thought was a cold knot in Harper's stomach. She was a woman who built her life on permanence, on things that lasted. She had carefully constructed walls around her heart to protect it from exactly this kind of temporary beauty, this fleeting connection. She was terrified of getting attached to someone who was destined to leave, of creating a beautiful memory that would only end in a painful goodbye. The tension between them became a silent character in their story, a palpable force in the air of the little bookstore. It was in the way their hands would almost touch when reaching for the same book, in the long pauses that hung between them after a shared laugh. Harper wanted to pull back, to retreat to the safety of her predictable world. Riley, however, seemed determined to understand the world behind Harper's walls, not to break them down, but to be invited in. "I don't do temporary," Harper finally confessed one afternoon, the words feeling like a painful admission. She watched Riley's expression, expecting to see resignation, an acceptance of the end. Instead, Riley looked at her, a thoughtful, serious look in her eyes. "Maybe," she replied softly, "I can learn to stay." The night before Riley's scheduled flight, the bookstore was quiet. Harper was tidying up, her movements slow, her heart heavy with the impending departure. The bell chimed one last time. It was Riley. She wasn't holding her usual coffee cup, but a small, carefully wrapped package. "A gift," she said, her voice a little shaky. Harper unwrapped it to find a photograph, a stunning black and white print. It was a picture of her Harper, caught in a moment she hadn't even noticed. She was standing amidst her beloved bookshelves, a soft ray of afternoon sun illuminating her face as she smiled down at a book in her hands. She looked happy, truly, deeply happy. "I've photographed wonders all over the world," Riley said, her voice barely a whisper, "but I've never wanted to photograph someone more than I want to photograph you." In that moment, all of Harper's fears, all the walls she had so carefully built, just crumbled away. She stepped forward and kissed Riley, a kiss that tasted of rain, coffee, and the promise of a new beginning. Riley didn't take the flight, she stayed. The following weeks were a whirlwind of quiet mornings and shared discoveries. One day, Harper cleared a section of shelves near the front of the store. With Riley's expert eye and adventurous spirit, they filled it with books on travel, exploration, and, of course, photography. It quickly became the most popular section in the store. One morning, as they were stocking new arrivals, Harper leaned against the counter, watching Riley with a love that filled every corner of her being. "You stayed," she whispered, the words still full of wonder. Riley turned her smile as brilliant as the day they first met. She closed the distance between them and replied, "For the story, the one we're writing together." And so, on Maple Street, in a little shop filled with books and the ever-present rhythm of the rain, a love story found its home, not written on a page, but lived every single day. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more.